Mesech Zevachim Ayin Amar Aleph. We're starting from Samach Tes Amud Beis. Amalei Shizvi, parallel to the Tes Mechiba Ezoi. One line of it's parallel to it, exactly parallel to it. Yes. In the Mishnah we learned, and I'll just give you Akdama. If somebody did Malika is the kohen doing it with the thumb, and if they did the Malika, he opens up the chicken treif. What's the halacha? Rav Meir says normal and avela by oif is different than by behema. By behema you touch it, you become tummy. By oif only when by the beis habli you become tummy. And another thing, when you become tummy, the begodim that are on you also become tummy. That's by oif. Behema nay, you touch the only yourself. Okay, that's yeah. So he says like this. So Rav Meir says if you found it to be a treifa after you did the malika, since the malika was like shchita, made it kosher, that it's not going to be matame bebeis abliya. Rabbi Yehuda argues. Rabbi Yehuda says it is matame. Rabbi Meir gave a reason. He said a kavachema that it shouldn't be matame, and then we said this kavachema is not a good kavachema. It's not dayel of ma'adin. We want to make a kavachema from a behema. But by behema nishtar the concept of malika, so you can't make a kavachema from shchita for malika. So the Gemara said that Meir learns it out from a pasuk. Where does he learn out from a pasuk? Nothing to do with a kavachema. Where does he know that if he does malika on oif, that it's not going to be matam beis abliya? So he says because the Torah says zois toidas habehim va'oif, habehim and oif have to be similar. There's no similarity between a behema and beif. Like we just said, a behema is metame b'maga or b'masa, or carrying it or touching it. A oif is metame b'beis abliya. Oh, so what does it mean that it's shava? Says obviously the pasuk wants to tell us that if he shechted and then he found there was a treifa, it's not going to be metame b'beis abliya.
You mean the malika?
The malika, yeah. What about Rabbi Yehuda? Says where does Rabbi Yehuda? Why does he say it is matama bebeis habliya? So he says because in the Torah it says bechol nefesh asher teichel nevela utreifa. In fact, what do you mean nevela utreifa? What do I have to say treifa? If the treifa is able to live, it's not going to be tummy till it dies. Once it's dead, it's a nevela. And then so you said already nevela. What do you have to say treifa? And if you say while it's alive, it's considered as a nevela, it's included in nevela. So what is he coming to teach us? This pasuk of the extra word treifa. He says he's come to teach us that if he shechted a treifa while it was alive, and so the din is it's metama, and then it died. The metama beis habliya. Yeah, he did a malika. Yeah, I'm sorry, not shlita. He did a malika. Amalei Shizvi. Rashi says you're dashning on the word treifa because treifa is extra because treifa mimanavshach is included in nevela like we just asked. Mimanavshach if treifa it only when is it going to be metame only after the treifa dies, that's nevela. And if you're going to say while it's alive it's a nevela, it's again included in nevela. That's so you're saying treifa is a limud. That's how you say treifa is extra. So I have to ask you another question. We find the word treifa again with nevela. It's extra. What does it teach us? It says the chaylev nevela, the chaylev treifa. It says you're allowed to do malacha. You're not allowed to eat it, but the chaylev of a nevela treifa, you're allowed to do malacha. It's not metama like the basar, and you're allowed to use it even for malachas hakodesh. She says. So said to your mother. Hasanami nema say Maravshach treifa is extra. In treifa chaya, if it says if the treifa is considered as alive and it only becomes tummy after it dies, harei nevela kavaramudad. It already said in nevela. And then if you're going to eat treifa chaya, if you're going to say while it's alive it's considered dead, harei b'chal nevela. So it's the same kasha like you asked before. So what is the word treifa coming to teach us over here? Says he's come to tell us that a behema treifa, not a oif, a behema treifa that was slaughtered, that the chaylev is going to be tahir, miklal the himatama. It's mashma from it is that a bus of behema treifa that was slaughtered, it's metama. It is metame. Only the chalba is going to be tahi.
If the baby is everything,
everything should be tahi. He shechted it, and here you're saying what? That the chalba will be tahi, but the basa will be tame. In fact, what are you talking about? How could you say such a thing? Rabbi Yehuda said the name of Rabbi. Others say we learned in the Braisa. It says v'chiyamus min habehima. That somebody who touches an avela, he should be tamei ad ha'arev min habehima. Min habehima means not every behema is metame when it's dead because of an avela. There are some behemoths that are not tamei when it's dead. Only mixas. It says min habehima, of the behemoths. He says min habehima metama or mixas. Habehima ain't metama. The behemoths that don't become tamei at all. Ve'ezoi zu, which is the one that doesn't become tamei at all. Zoi treifa sheshchata. This is a case of a treifa was a treifa na behema was met geschachten is not metama klau. The shchita it's no, they checked it and they found it was a treifa. Okay. It's not metama at all, not the basa either. I'm not saying you can't eat it, but it's not. It's not an avela.
It seemed that it was going to be good.
He's saying it's not an avela. Yeah, it's not an avela. So how could you say that? No, he's coming to teach you the word treifa. That if you shechted it, the chaylev is going to be tar, but the bus is going to be tummy. It's no such a thing. We have a raya from the pasuk min habehema that the bus is also tar. It says you want what only treifa? What is the treifa? What is treifa? The extra word treifa coming to teach us to exclude an animal that was lechatchila tummy. Tummy the animal. Nishkin tar the animal. So there it's metame. Right.
It was alive.
Yeah, we're talking about a behemoth meya. You're not learning.
So how could you shecht altogether?
Right. So wait, no. So he's not learning it for that. So what is treifa coming to exclude? What do you mean by behemoth meya? So he's telling you that it's metama. The chaylev is metame like kipsoda. Why? Because we dash like this. Mishi yesh b'mina treifa. Only one that has the gather of the din of treifa. That means like a toidik behema. That there's the din of treifa. By a toidik behema, a behema was nicht toid. It's talking din treifa. So as if you are nevelas and garnish this tummy. Everything's natchili, right? Yatzazazu, it comes to exclude a behema tmeya sheim b'mina treifa. There's no gather of treifa. So in such a case, the chaylev of the nevela won't be tired.
Won't be what?
Will not. He says the chaylev of the nevela of a tummy dikabehema will be tummy. The only chaylev that will be tired only if there was a behemoth that was tired with the. That's what Treifa tells you. Because if it would only be in the word nevela, I would not be mechalik between any between a behemoth behemoth tater. I would say the chaylev is mutter. What makes the chaylev asur tummy by tummy the behema? Because it says treifa and it says nevela treifa, and that's not begada treifa. Says you want a hachanami. So too by tumas oif tor. The Beis Habliya will explain this that the pasuk says treifa. It comes to tell us only something that's b'minoi going to be a treifa that like oif tori is metame bebeis habliya. Lemiuti oif tamei, but if it's oif tamei sheina b'minoi treifa, if it's which is not in the gather of treifa, it's not going to be metame bebeis habliya. So that's what's teaching us treifa. If here and we're learning out what treifa teaches us over here, so we can learn out by oif tori. So we don't know. So he says, how do you know by oif tori treifa? If he did a malika, it's still metame beis habliya. That's not what it's coming to teach us treifa. We thought originally, what did treifa tell us? The extra word treifa, that if he shechted oif tori treifa, it's still going to be metame beis habliya. That's what Rabbi Yehuda said. That's what we originally said. Says Yimani, that's not true. We just said the treifa by behema. What does it teach us? That only when is the chaylev tahir Only if it's begedded in the dinim of treifa. A behemoth tmeya is not in the dinim of treifa. Right. It's a treifa. The treifa there's no Indian by. It doesn't exist. These dinim by behemoth tmeya. So by oif Torah we'll say the same thing. That the only time that it's going to be metame bebeis abliya if it's oif Torah. But if it's a oif tamei, then it's not going to be metame.
If you have treifa. If you treifa.
If it's tamei, but of course, but it's treifa, it's not going to be metame beis abliya, so it's a kasher Rabbi Yehuda. So what is he coming? How does he know even by oif Torah it's going to be metame beis abliya? And the Gemara oif tamei.
So when then it's not by Oif Torah, when then?
What do you mean when then?
He said, how does he know by Oif Torah that it's Metame B'Beis Abliya?
Oh, no. No, how do you know by oif? He says that the word oif Torah, and the word treif is coming to tell us that the tuma of the oif is metame bebeis abliya, right? That's why it says it's coming to something that's the mini treifa, like oif Torah is metame bebeis abliya.
Okay, but not if it's Oif Tamei.
What? But oif tamei, excluding is not.
Okay.
But the question is, from where do we learn out that the halacha is that if he shechts
To do a Malika on
a shchita on a malika on a oif Torah treifa, where do we know that it's metame bebeis abliya?
It is Metame B'Beis Abliya.
According to Rabbi Yehuda. So the Gemara oif tamei that it's not metame le Rabbi Yehuda min
It is
aveilah.
Metame, you're saying.
Yeah. So where does he learn that? So he says this that oif tamei is not metame bebeis abliya. Oif tamei is not metame bebeis abliya, right? Because oif tamei is not in the gather of treifa, right?
Yeah.
So it's not Metame.
What Rabbi Yehuda saying?
So Rabbi Yehuda says that oif tahir is also metame bebeis abliya if there was a malika, if it was a treifa.
If we found out that
It was treif, yes. So says the Gemara, from where is he going to learn it out? Because the treifa is not teaching us this limud. He said the treifa is coming to exclude tamei. So he says oif tamei, to know about oif tamei, that it's not metame bebeis abliya le Rabbi Yehuda min aveilah. Nafkele. He learns it out from the word nevela. The Tanya that we learned from Rabbi Yehuda Eimer Yochtei Nivlas Oif Tamei Mitame Begod Ma Beis Abliya. I would have thought Oif Tamei, which is a nevela, is Mitame the Begodim while he swallows the Tamei Dike Oif Tamei Leiman Nevelo Treifa Lo Yoichal Letamaba. So it says the word Letamaba Mi Sheisudei Mishum Bal Teichel Nevela. Only one who the Iser is because of Nevela, not because is Metame Beis Abliya, not because it's Tamei. Yotze Zesha Ein Isur Mishum Bal Teichel Nevela Mishum Bal Teichel Tamei, excluding something that's eating Tamei, something that's eating Tamei. There it's not gonna be Metame Beis Abliya. So we have already a different pasuk for Nevelis Oif Tamei not being Metame Beis Abliya. Because we know it from the words letamaba. Says the Gemara, Hai Nami, says the Gemara, this din that chelev nevelas behema. Let's go back to the chelev of nevelas behema. You said if it's tmeya, it's metame, right? But the chelev of behema toy, the nevela, the chelev is toy, is good. So he says this that in the chelev of nevela behema tmeya that it's tamei. I don't need treifa to teach us that. We said treifa is teaching us that the chelev of a nevela of a behema tmeya is going to be tamei. I can learn. I don't need the treifa. Chelev in nevela. I can learn it out. Yas l'chol malach v'achol lo seichlu. The end of the pasuk says v'achol lo seichlu as chalboi. So it has to be a behema that the only thing that's asur is to, when you do it the right way, is the chelev, but the basa is mutter, which is mashma. Only the chelev is asur v'achil, but the basa is mutter if you do it the right way. Mi sheisur mishum bal teichel chelev nevela, meaning it's talking about a min that only the chelev itself is going to be asur. Akasha de gebehema. By akasha de gebehema, the only thing that's asur is the chelev, not the basa. It says kol chelev lo yisechelu. But Basari is mutter
In other
b'achila.
words, if a kosher dika behema dies, saying?
So a tummy dika behema, a kosher dika behema that dies, then the basa is mutter b'achila.
What?
The basa, no, not dies. He did a shchita.
Did a shchita.
So the in a case where it would die, he wants to tell you the chelav is mutter. Only what kind of a behema that if you would shecht it,
Well, I mean, after you shecht
the basa would be kosher and the chelav would be aser. But he's telling you, but if it died, the chelav would be mutter.
it's only it became a treifa after you shechted it.
Right.
That you found out that it was a treifa.
Treifa, right.
The shchita was a good shchita to start with.
Right.
It was a kosher dika
But
behema.
even if it's an avela, by a toridic animal, the chelav will be mutter for malacha. But it's excluding a behemoth tmeya that it doesn't have the gather of ever being able to be eaten, and only the chelav will be aser. The pasuk was talking about a case that if it was done the right way, the basa would be mutter and the chelav would be aser. There, if it was an avela, the chelav would be mutter for malacha. But a behemoth tmeya, which was not, even if it's done the right way, it's not mutter to eat it. So you learn it out from the extra words, from the end of the pasuk, where it says, loy seichelu, it says over there. What was the end of the pasuk? That's the end of the pasuk. So that's how we know tummy is us. We don't need that. We don't tummy that the chelu is tummy. We don't need a pasuk treifa. So what do we need a pasuk treifa by behema? There too, it's going to be extra. Says you want a high treifa. This treifa that's written by chelev by behema mibayli is suya chaya. We needed to include a chaya tahira. So find a chaya nishkem behema chaya, which is tahir. A tzvi is a chaya, yeah. So it's a chaya tahira, but did the chalba is tahir also. So Sal Kadai Chamina, I would have thought only Misha Chalba Aso B'Sara Muta, there the Chalev will be Muta B'Mlaka. Yatzazu Shal Chalba B'Sara Muta, but a Chaya, if you shech the Taka the Bas is Muta, but the Chalba is also Muta. So there, I wouldn't say if it was an Avela that you're Muta to eat work the Chalev, because what type of behema did the Torah say that if it was killed, it was an avela, you could use the chelev? That if you shechted it, normally only the basa would be mutter, but the chelev would be aser. That's the type, if it died, you're allowed to work it. But by a tzvi, both are mutter. Kamash once I would have thought it wouldn't be mutter. That's why we need the word treifa. Kamash malan comes the word treifa and tells us that even by a chaya, where the chalba is mutter, it's still going to be mutter b'mlach if it was an avela. What's the difference? Then tmeya, just like tmeya, the ein chalba cholok mepsara, just like you said, by the reason why the chalev is tamei, even if it's an avela, because the chalba and the psara have the same din. Chaya nami ein chalba cholok mepsara. By chaya is the reverse, the other extreme. There's no chilik between the basa and the chalba. They're both tired. So just like by tmeya, you say by an avila the chalev is tamei. You should say by chayat tahara that the chalev should be tamei, because the Torah doesn't differentiate even between the basa and the chalev. So it's like a package deal. When it's tahir and you shech it the right way, the bus is tahir and the chalba is tahir. And if it's an avela, if the b'sara became tamei, then the chalev automatically has to become tamei. It's not like a behema that lechatchila when you shech it the right way, the bus is tahir and the chalev is tamei. It's also. So what take? So what does Tefer tell us by behema? Says by chela the gufa. We need it for its own din to teach us that even chela behema treifa that was nisnavla is Torah. what do I need? The word treifa, manavshach. So he says, you shouldn't say, you shouldn't come to say, oh, just like since by behemoth meya, it's already usher. When it's alive, you're not allowed to have enough from a behemoth meya. You can't eat a behemoth meya. Utreifa surmechayim, and a treifa is similar to a tmeya, the animal. It's usher from when it's alive. So I would compare treifa to a behemoth meya, because they're both usher mechayim.
Even though it could be a kosher, they could behave look at chilul.
A treifa, if it's treifa, it cannot be kosher.
What's the difference between a tummy?
Oh, so that's what he's saying. It should have the same thing.
You mean that it was a kosher behavior that became treif?
Yeah, that could be one way.
That's ways.
Right.
That's what he's saying.
Right, but Pearl Mamish, what do they have in common?
But it's alive. It's a treifa.
It's a treifa. It's also
the same way
the same way
a tummy is.
a tummy is also. Amat tmeya chelba tummy, and just like by tmeya the chelba, the chelav is tummy. So I'll say after treifa chelba tummy. I should say by chelba, the treifa, the chelav should be tummy.
Should be also.
Should be also. That's why I had the extra word treifa to tell you no. That the chelav of a treifa will be muted for malacha. In fact, the word treifa by nevela seif, you should say the same shaloi treima. How? Shaloi treima hayl be'oiv tamei as ba'achila, since ha'oiv tamei. While it's alive, it's as ba'achila, utreifa asura ba'achila, and a treifa is also as ba'achila when it's alive. Ma oiv tamei, and just like oiv tamei, einem tamei. By oiv tamei, if it goes by beis habliya, it's not matamei. Av treifa, einem tamei. By oiv, yeah. So I'll say av treifa because they have in common when it's alive, it's also. So av treifa, einem tamei beis habliya. I should say also treifa. It's not tamei beis habliya. And we should say that's what we need nevela for. To tell us that even by a treifa it will be matama bebeis habliya, and not to teach us if he shachted the oiv or he did the malik on the oiv that it will still be matama bebeis habliya. Where do we know that from? The oiv. In fact, the Gemara Akasha, could we say that's what we're learning out? Could we learn out treifa from tmeya? Tmeya never had a time that it was ever kosher. Something that's tummy. From birth, it was always tummy. Treifa was once kosher and it became treif. If you're going to say treif me better, that it was treif. It was a treif already from in the mother's stomach. So it's exactly like tmeya from birth. Says but mina miyaika. But you can find other treifas that are not treif from birth. They become treif later. So since of its min, there are cases where it's kosher and then it becomes treif. So therefore, you can't learn it out from tmeya. El Amar Rava says, Rava, you're right. Only from where? What do we learn? What do we need? What do we learn out from the word treifa? I tell you, Amar Yava is nevela v'yachal is a chelav, and Yava is a treifa v'yachal is a chelav. He's coming to teach us that on nevela you can have, in addition to when you eat the nevela, you could be over for eating chelav, and also two things: the isa chelav and the isa nevela. And then his treifa is come to tell you, in addition to the isa nevela, and the isa chelav, the isa treifa could be also added. Yes, and he wants to tell you that isa is chalalisa. No, isa is chalalisa. That yava isa, and it'll be, if it's a treifa, you could have say isa chalalisa. That the isa from treifa could be chal.
So you want to say nevela, you want to say treifa, and you want to say chelav, no?
Chelav is the main thing is right now is the isa is the isa of chelav. There's the isa of chelav. You're not allowed to eat chelav. So if it's a nevela, so it's the isa chelav is chal on the isa nevela. If it's a treifa, we want to say the isa treifa will also be chal on the isa nevela.
No, you mean the isa of chelav.
Isa of chelav. On the isa of chelav. The isa of treifa will be chal on the isa of chelav. Yeah. So I remember the boys were saying to Rav Mala, Isa chal al Isa. Sapan Adaya was halt Isa kenish chal zayin of Isa. So we said, you're not allowed to listen to music in the 90s also, yeah. And then they said, well, Goyish music is also Isa. Ein Isa Chal Alisa, you're allowed to listen. So he said, but here, state Isa Chal
Who was so
Alisa.
smart?
I had the kids in our class.
Wasn't you?
Utziche, says Gemara. Utziche, we need these two dinim. The Ashmin and the Vela. If we'd only teach us about the Isa and the Vela, I wouldn't know that the Isa Treif is also Chal on Chalem. I would say only Isa and the Vela is Chal on Chalem. Why? Mishum de Metamya, because the Vela is Metama, and therefore it's more Chomer. So it could be Chal on Chalem. Aval Treifa, Emalai. Treifa is not Metama. It's alive, it's not Metama. So Emalai, I wouldn't say it has the power to be Chal on Chalem.
So if the behemoth is a trait and it dies, so it's
Only if it dies.
then it's
Talking about-
available.
then it's
Yeah, it's available.
then it's available. We're talking about while it's alive, the Easter.
We know that it's a trait.
If he's
We know it's-
eating, yeah. He asked me, and if the Torah would only tell us Treifa, I say, hey, Treifa is more Chama, Mishum de Yisurim Echayim. The Easter starts from when it's alive. Avon
Which
Neveil-
is it? Which is it? Then what?
The Easter of Treifa is already
But,
strong.
but you can't be over on Easter trait until it's dead. No.
The Easter Treifa, but it's called Treifa. If it was Easter Treifa, and you
Is the
shachted
Easter
it.
on this behemoth?
You shachted it. You
shachted
shachted it, right. You did the shechita. So it's treifa. You shachted it as a treifa. So it's going to be chal on the on chelav. Av nevela emalei. I would say nevela doesn't have the power of treifa. It's not osam mechayim. Treifa is osam mechayim. Only later if it's that. That's why tzichay needs sight to tell you a pasuk for nevela that it's chal al isa chelav. And also the word treif to tell you that the treif is chal al isa chelav. So what about Rab Meir? What about Rab Meir who holds a eif treifa that was slaughtered? It's not metama bebeis abliya. So what does he do with the word treifa? Hi treifa may avilei. So the Gemara mebayalei lemiyut shchita shehi lefnim. He needs it to exclude oif kachim. What do we have to do? Oif kachim. The halacha is a oif that belongs to kachim. You could only do malika. But what's if he did a shchita? He didn't do the right aveda. He did shchita instead of malika. So he wants to tell us, if he didn't do the right aveda, it should be tameh. It should be metame. It should be metame beis abliya. That's what he's come to tell you. It's not going to be metame beis abliya because shchita was matarit. Rabbi Yehuda, who holds treifa, he agrees by kachim. If you did a shchita, it's not going to be metame beis abliya, even though b'chlal it says shchita treifa it is, but not if you did shchita on a oif toir, kachim. He says it's not metame. So what does he do? Where does he know that from? Rabbi Yehuda teifach ninaksiv. He says he has a third pasuk that says nevelu teifa lo yoichlil tamaba, and that's where he learns. He dashens that shchita is kachim ba'azara. It's not going to be metame if he did a shchita instead of a malika. Rabbi Meir, what does that Meir do with that extra treifa? So he says, Chad, one treifa, one is to exclude if he shachted instead of malika, oif bifnim, of the azara, it's not going to be matama, the beis abliya. V'chad, another treifa, miyut oif tameh, that if it's a oif tameh, that it's not, the nevela of oif tameh is not going to be matama, the beis abliya. Rabbi Yehuda, what is Rabbi Yehuda? Where does he learn?
You have three of them, right? So what's the third treifa?
One treifa is lemiute the shchita instead of malika, right?
If it is
And one is lemiute oif tameh, that the oif tameh, if it's oif tameh, it's not metame b'beis abliya. And one is legufa. So Rabbi Yehuda, what is Rabbi Yehuda? Where does he know that from? So he says this that a tamei dika oif is not metame beis abliya. He learns it out from that pasuk where it says nevelu teifel lo yechel tamaba. The extra word letamaba is coming to tell us that if it's tamei, it's not. If it's chatchila tamei, Rabbi Yehuda dashens that it's not going to be metame beis abliya, because we're only talking about such a thing that was it was asaba achila mishum nevela. Not oif tamei that it's asaba mishum oif tamei. Rab Meir, what is Rab Meir who is memayit nevelas oif tamei mitreifa? Oif tamei learns high nevela may of it. Like, what does he do with this extra word letamaba? That we said that was extra words, And the Gemara Lama is Shir Achila to teach us what is the shear of eating on the Vela Seif Torah that's going to be mitame bebeis habliya. He's coming to tell you bekazayis that it's going to be the shear of a gazayis. In fact, why does he need a pasuk to tell you that? V'tefik lei mikra kama. The shear of a gazayis I know from the previous pasuk. It says v'chol nefesh asher teichal nevelu teichal. It says asher teichal. Mid'apker achmana from this that the Torah wrote din tumas nevelus ha'oif in what kind of a lashon? B'lashoin achila. And we know the shear of achila was always, in all the din of the Torah, is always a kezayis. So what do I need the extra word l'tamabah to tell us the shear of a kezayis? If it says the lashon achila by atami de we know the shear achila is a kezayis. I'm thinking about a chad, one pasuk, the lamet shear achila l'tamei u'bekezayis. Take one pasuk is to tell you that tuma is bekezayis. The chad, and one is to tell you Lalamit shiur achila b'chadei achilas pras, that it has to be, he finishes the kezayis in the time that it takes to finish a half a loaf of bread. Salka that chamina, I would have thought, hayu that the whole tumas of nevelas oif is achilish, because it's not metame b'maga. It's a whole chiddush. It's only metame b'beis habliya. Right, it has to be swallowed. So I would have thought, so it's shana chiddush. So it doesn't have to be so much at a time, in the time that it takes to finish achilas pras. I would have thought, not in the time. I would have thought even more longer than the shit's metame. Kamash Malon comes to tell us it's not going to be metame only if he finishes the kezayis in the time that it takes to finish a half a loaf of bread.
What should say that it takes longer?
Okay. It says the Torah is talking about a chela behema tahira. That's what he wants to say. Maybe the pasuk there is talking about even by behema tmeya. It's talking about by behema tmeya that the chela is not going to be tamei. Amata, I can tell you because tiher miklal shchita. It was metareh metumas nevela because of the shem shchita, because shchita is mataheres habehema from becoming tamei betumas nevela. The tier and the kasuv that says by tumas nevela miklal chelav through the shem chelav nevela tar. It says that the chelav nevela is tar. So ma kishetiyah miklal shchita, just like the first shekishetiyah is through the same shchita. So what? Which one does shchita help? Behemoth Torah, behemoth meya, behemoth Torah, the leibet meya. Av kishetim meklal chelav. So too, when it says tiyah by chelav, it's identical to the first tiyah, but that's behemoth meya, behemoth Torah, leibet meya. Says maybe klach l'derech. So say tiyah miklal nevela. Start off like this. It says tiyah that it is metar from miklal and nevela. It takes us out of the regular nevelas that's metama, the tiyah meklal chelav, and then you say the tiyah meklal chelav through the shem chelav. The first tiyah is meklal nevela, that the pasuk took it out from the other nevelas that are metamais. He says that the nevelas oif tamei is not metama bebeis habliya, so it took it out from the other nevelas. So you're talking about a tamei dik behema there. The tiyah meklal chelav is also talking about a behema tamei, because shekishetiyah meklal nevela. What does it mean? You took out this behema from all the other behemas. All other behemas is metame bebeis habliya. You took out which behema that it's not going to be metame bebeis habliya, behema tmeya. So too you'll say mitmeya leitayna av kishetiyah meklal chelav. So too when you're saying that the chelav is mutter, say b'tmeya. The later Torah is talking about by tmeya, not a tmeya. By tmeya, not a Torah. And the Gemara, so the Gemara says, Amarta kishabab derazu hitahira, kishabab derazu hitmeya. Since you can learn it two ways, so Talmud Leima, that's why we needed the word treifa. Misha yesh b'minav treifa. We're obviously talking about a Torah de kebeima. So fact Gemara oitzias at tmeya. From the word treifa, we're excluding behemoth meya, shein b'mina treifa, because there's no din of treifa. But I'm not going to exclude from here chaya sheyesh b'mina treifa, because by chaya there is a din of treifa. Talmud leimu achal leisechlul. Comes the pasuk achal leisechlul telling you b'misha chalba aso ubsara muta. It's coming to tell you. The end of the pasuk shows you that we're not including chaya tahira, because it's talking about achal leisechlul, meaning only the chaylev is asa, but the basa is muta. By a chaya both are muta, the basa and the chaylev. Yotza chaya shechalba ubsara muta. Now it comes out from the words of what I say. Only the velas behema tahira he the metama. That's the only one that can be metama. Nevelas behema tmeya loy metama, but behemoth meya is not going to be metama. That's what it comes out from here. In fact, that's impossible to say. It should be the reverse. So Rabbi said to Rabbi Yaakov, "Kama savashabishto ba." Many skated made a mistake in this, and Sefer Hasalon Livlas Oif Toher. The Sefer of the Brisa that says the Tia Meklal Nevela B'Tuma, it was Metamid from Metar from Tuma, is talking about a Nevelas Oif Tomei, that it's not Metamid Bebeis Abliya, but not by a Nevelas Behema. A Nevelas Behema is still going to be Tomei, the Chalef. Rabbi Yochanan said later here, Rabbi was not Metar Nevelas Oif Treifa Elobet Mimim. Only if he did a malika on a tomim that there wasn't a mum by a oif is nicht a regular mum like by ve'ema. Simul zayin chosa eva. It has to be missing a limb. That's the only way it's going to be. Avam bebali mumin. But if it was missing a eva and he did malika, so it's not going to help. Loy, he's not. It's not going to be matayit the beis habli if he eats it, even though there was a malika. Rav Lazar says even if it was a bal moment. We also learned Rav Meir would be Matai even if it was a bal mum. Even by geese and tanagaylan and chickens, which are not the minim, which are reilam as bayach, if he did a malika, it's going to help. But Rav Yirmiyah said that's going to help the malika from not being metame the beis habliya. Malika takes it away. But Rabbi Yirmiyah asked the question out of the Eiz Ma'ul, what's instead of in using an egla rufa, he did by the Eiz Arufa? Is it going to help? He says it's not. By Eiz Arufa it doesn't help for the. It's not the right animal for the kapara, but we should say that it should be metam midei nevela, right? Just like egla, if it's Eiz, it should be metam midei nevela. Just like by Avazim and Tana Gailan are not fit to go on the Mizbeach, but if you do Melich, it's Matar. So Avazim and Tana Gailan, what's the reason that it's going to be Matar? The Minah de Eifes Ninu. It's the same min as the birds. Avalei is not Minah de Egla Ninu. Eiz is not in the min of a Egla. So or perhaps Minah de Behemo. In general, it's a Behemo. So maybe the Egla Eiz should be moved. Yeah. So should we move from the Tumah? So the Gemara Yasser Avdimi, the Kamal Hashmaita. Avdimi sat down and he said to this sugya of the Safka of Rabbi Yirmiyah, Amalei Abaya. Abaya said to Avdimi, Meklal, from the Shaila, the Egla Rufa itself is Vadei Tahiri, is for sure Tahiri, even though the Arif is not Mata B'Achila, but it's Tahira. So Gemara, how could it be? Maybe we'll stop over here. Yosef Ravdimi, Ravdimi sat down and he said this shmua, this suffix that Rabbi Yirmiyah brought down. Amalei Abaya said to Ravdimi, Meklal. It's from this shaila we can imply the Egla Harufa Atzma is Tahira, is for sure Tahira, even though the Egla Harufa. That's not metame. There's no tumah. After you cut off the head, right? You're not allowed to have any hana. Yeah. But he says it's still tied. It's tied. Doesn't matter, right? But our shaila was even if it's not the same min, if you did an egla of the ace, a rufa of an ace, if you cut instead of the egla calf, you cut off the head of an ace. Will it be matir just like by Egla Rufa? Because we find by the geese and the chickens, they don't have the same din as a bird that can go on the mizbeach. Says the Gemara. Over here we see that. So that was the shiloh. So Avdimi said, but from the ganze shiloh, what do we see? That the egla rufa, if you cut off the head, tahiri, the goof is tahir. Even though you can't have anah, it's not matir to eat. You can't eat it. So the Gemara Amalei. So Avdimi said, "Habaya in yes, it is tahir. If you touch it, don't become tummy." Amri devei Rabbi Yanai. They said in the Beis Medrash of Rabbi Yanai, since it says kapara, since the lashon ksiba bekachim, it says kikachim. I'm sorry. Since it says the lashon kapara by egla rufa, like by kachim, therefore, just like kachim that was yishachten, the halacha is it's not metame mishum nevela. You can't have enough from kachim. You can't shessen, but it's not metame mishum nevela. So too the egla rufa, if they cut off the head, which is what is the egla rufa? Because for the two towns, we don't know which one. It's a kapara for this closest city to the dead person. Okay, so there, even though it's mechaper, until they find out who the real killer is, it's mechaper that nobody should get punished, but it's not metam mishum nevela. So that we should. It has the same halacha because it uses the lashon kapara like kachim.
What do you do with the dead corpse?
You can't eat it. You can't.
You can't have anah from it.
You leave it there. I don't know. Maybe
The birds will come
I don't
in.
think you can have even anah from it by egla rufa. But it doesn't. It's not metame. That's all. Mosib Rav Nosson Avud Rav Huna Rav Nosson. Rav Nosson, the father of Rav Huna, the son of Nosson. Esta Shaila. It says in the pasuk that teaches that chaylev nevela is tahir. We said the chaylev behema is tahir. It says the chaylev nevela, the chaylev treifa, yasa lechom malacha. We said the chaylev of a nevela is you could even do malacha for kachim. You can use it for that. But eat you cannot eat it. Ainly we only know from this pasuk that it's tahir metumas nevela. Ala chaylev she'asa ba'achilo mutmana. We only know such an animal that the chaylev is asa ba'achila, but it's mutmana. That's chaylev stam. That ye'as l'chol malacha. That's what you can use for malacha. Meaning a chaylev that's mutmana. How about chaylev shel shoyr aniskel? Or the egla arufa, the chaylev of a shoyr that they said that the shoyr killed a person, so you have to give the skila. A shemud, so you give it skila. And the same thing egla arufa, which is asabana, menayin. How do we know it's not mitame? Mishum nevela. I'm thinking about a Talmud Lemon because we're saying it's not metame. Now we want to know where's the marker that egla arufa is not going to be metame. Even though it's asmano or shayanisko, it's going to. From where do we know that it's not metamas? He says because it says kol. The word kol chaylev. The kol comes to tell you include even a shayanisko and aglarufa that it's not. It's going to be Torah from tumis nevela. He saw kadaita.
And you could have enough from that?
No. We know it's asmano. That's the chiddush. It's asmano. So how do you know that you don't become tamei? That it's Torah metumas nevela if you do the agla, if you arifa, if you cut off the head. So he says from kol. Okay. So the Gemara v'isal kadaylich. If it's gonna enter your mind egla rufa tahirahi, that the egla rufa is tahir. We said before it's tahir. Why do I need the brayso to teach us that the chaylev of the egla rufa is not going to be tamei? It's not going to be metame others. If you say the goof of an egla rufa is tahir, we concluded before.
It's not tummy.
It's not tamei. The body, even the bus is not tamei. So if the bus is not tamei, everything is tahir. So what do I need a pussy? He tahir. You want to say he tahir b'chol tamei? Well, it doesn't make sense. And the Gemara heicha the oraf mi'arif lo yitzchale. In a case where they beheaded the agala was not needed. They didn't do it yet. Ki yitzcha heicha the shachta mishchat. again, where they took off where they beheaded the animal of a egla,
Or a
that for sure. I don't need a passing of that because it's tahir. We already know it's tahir. The animal is tahir. So if the bus is tahir, then the chalba is tahir. Where did we need ki itzicha? Where did I need this marker of kol chaylev? Heicha the shachte mishchat. In a place where they, instead of doing the arifa, they did a, or the skiller, they did a shchita. Nevertheless, it's asba no, because it was asa before the arifa, and the pasuk is telling you, but the chalba is going to be tahir, even though it wasn't done the right way. In fact, you might have shchita letara midei nevela. If there was a shchita, it should become a nevela. So therefore, why would you think that the bus is not tamei? Nothing's tamei. So the chalba for sure should be
You
tahir.
weren't allowed to do shchita.
Right, but you did the shchita, and we know why shouldn't the shchita? If you did shchita helps to me. It's not an avela, yeah. So the Gemara leitzicha, we needed a pasuk over here. It's talking about egla rufa that the chalba is tahir shemesa, that it died on its own, right? So the bus,
Cut off his head and it's still in.
no, they didn't do any arifa. It died naturally.
So they did
And-
no river.
Huh?
Oh, he brought it
No
to make
shchita.
a-
He brought it. He designated for the egla rufa. So you starving.
But nothing was done to her.
Doesn't
Nothing
say-
was done.
doesn't
No
say that you
arifa,
have to
no
bring another-
shchita.
doesn't say anywhere you have to bring another one.
It doesn't say that. No. So the bus is for sure tummy because of an avela. And since there was no arifa, there was no shchita, the pasuk is telling you, but the chaylev is still going to be tahir. Oh, even though it's asmana, says the Gemara Meklal, the Mechayim Asura. That means that this was already asabana from when it was alive, even before the arifa. How could it be? The behemoth was already asur from before he did anything. Because the Bryce is coming to tell you, Egla Rufa is tahir, even though it's asabana, right? Egla Rufa is tahir. So here you're telling me there was no arifa, but you call it egla rufa. It's asmana, but the chaylev is muta. So there's such a thing. How can it be? It's already asmana before the arifa. Says Yimana yes. Gvul shamaiti. I heard a limitation. From when does it become asur? But v'shachachti, I forgot. V'nozvin chavraya lemeima. And the Bnei Yeshiva looked into it, and they thought, with a svara, to say that what makes it aser, yiridasa lenachal eson hiyasarta, that bringing it down to the nachal eson, that part of the tanaim of Egla Harufa, you have to bring it to a valley where there's strong, hard mountains with rocks, or hard mountains. No, but so that makes it into already a Egla Rufa.
Just to bring out to that area.
Just to bring it down to that area. So here he says we learned that Egla Rufa with a mamatzina from the Sa'ir Hamishtaleyach. They're similar. They're both mechapim outside the Azara. He says, just like the Sa'ir Hamishtaleyach.
Even the neck of her head, just bring there the whole.
It's already called Egla Rufa. And he says by the Sa'ir Mishtaleach, just like it's Mechaper Bachutz, even outside Azara, and it's already also Ba'anok from when it's alive, so too all Kachim are like Egla Rufa, which is also Mechaperes Bachutz, it's already also Ba'anok Mechayim. Okay, we'll stop it.